Please stay with me, because if you like fishing, we have, I think, arguably the top angler of her generation, Marina Gibson. You said, actually, that's really interesting about social media. Why?
So in the fishing industry, there's been a lot of talk. There's two types of female anglers in the world. There's one that fishes in bikinis. That might make people sit down and stay. And then there's the other who obviously, cover up and...
Doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, well, especially, I don't think you could get away with fishing in a bikini in this country.
No, it's a thing. And okay, so let's just take that one, because we are going to talk about the Northern Fly Fishing School. I promise you're going to get your plug in, all right? And we are also going to introduce your absolutely delightful...
This is Sedge.
Sedge, how old?
Named after the fly,
Obviously.
Sedge. He's 3.5.
Is he called Sedge because he falls out of bushes around about August?
Yeah, exactly. He's a Romanian rescue as well. And he loves fishing and picking up.
He picks up fish?
No,
Picking
birds.
up. Okay. Yeah. Tell me about the Northern Fly Fishing Northern Fishing School?
The Northern Fishing School,
Northern Fishing School, yeah. I always identify you as a fly fisher, but you're not. You're a lot more than that, aren't you?
Mainly fly fishing. I dabble in a bit of course and spinning, but I'm mainly fly fishing.
So I follow you because you're a generalist, but obviously people follow you because you're a fly fisher too. So yeah, tell me about the school. So
it launched over a month ago, and really for the last 2.5 years I've been guiding, floating about really and not having a base. So I thought of an idea to set up at my own fishing school where people can come and learn to fish, and we can educate them on the environment and fish welfare, and also cooking, all sorts of other activities. So it just so happens that Swinton Hotel didn't have anyone.
This is in Yorkshire, this is where you're based, yeah.
So no one was utilising their fishing. They have the River Ure, part of the River Ure, and River Burn, and also Leighton Reservoir, and we've got a lake as well, which needs dredging before I can stock it. But we've got a lot to go at, and a lot of management. But
are you the kind of, would I have to be a pretty good fly fisher to come to your school to learn a bit more, or are you kind of entry level or across the board?
Really, what I love, what my passion is to teach newcomers and children, millennials, or women. So just mainly beginners, but I do get lots of people who have fished, for 10 years or their whole lives, and they want to try something different. So I'm going
to have to admit now. So my son Edmund, who's eating crisps over there, who's working on the Game Fair Theatre, so he and I have booked into the Arundel Arms.
Nice.
Well, it's nice, but we should have come to you.
Tamar.
This is the Tamar down in Devon, Cornwall, nice. And the idea is that he gets 2 days of being taught fishing skills, and I get to slip away to the river by myself.
The lid and the loo are lovely as well.
Don't tell your mother, all right? So I mean, there's obviously demand for it because I'm doing it.
Yeah. And the Arundel Arms, there are a few fishing schools, and the Arundel Arms is the one, further south, I think. And then, it's good.
You're not a kind of association. You're just a kind of loose recommendation of what you consider to be good in the in the rest of the world, because there are some people who don't cast terribly well and still carry that kind of app guy casting. The letters after their name, don't they? I mean, you do have to kind of look out a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I guess with the casting exams, they're always changing, so they always get a bit harder, don't they? And they, I don't know, about 20 years ago, it might have been completely different passing the exams.
Have you done that? Have you done
Yeah, so I've done Fly Fishers International, which is the American exams, so I can go and teach worldwide.
Okay, that's more sensible.
But it was hard. When I did it, it was the most intense three months of my life, training to hopefully pass the exam. And you have 4 people marking you, and every time they got clipboards, and every time you do a task, they come together and they start talking and nodding or shaking their heads. And when right at the end they said, "Well, you've passed, well done," and I just burst into tears. So I was like, "Oh my God!" And my husband was watching at the time, and he said that it was the most intense thing he's ever watched. So yeah, it is. But it's funny because I don't know. I feel like after I passed the exams, I heard a remark from another casting instructor from a different organisation saying, "Oh, she only passed because of such and such," and I was like, "No, I was the 4 guys I had never met, and 3 of them were from abroad." So like that wasn't even. It's unbelievable what the industry is like sometimes. It's just.
Well, actually, let's just pick that up, because this is, again, something we're talking about with social media, which I didn't really cover with the guys here, but people get amazingly ill-mannered on Facebook, don't they?
Yeah.
And especially when you're a woman, it must be, but you're more of a target. Is that true?
Yeah, no, I do get a lot of stick. The other day I had my nails done for the Northern Fishing School launch.
They're very smart. I wish we could have a camera.
Trout, but I had NFS on my middle nail for Northern Fishing School, and I had a picture of me holding a grayling the other day, and I posted it up, and I was just holding it in my hand, and one of the guys commented saying, "What does NFS stand for?" And I was like, Northern Fishing School, check it out. It launched a month ago. And then another guy who I know of wrote underneath, and I'm not going to swear, but he said, "No beep skill." And so I just wrote back saying, maybe you should visit your nearest nail parlour then. And I was just like, it just happens all the time, and I'm just... for the past 5 years, it's just so tiring.
He probably thinks he's being hilarious, and maybe a couple of the people around down the pub think he's being hilarious as well. But I think it's very difficult for people when they're posting to kind of picture what their audience is, is thinking, or their target in this case is how they take it. You can't stop people from being bad manners. Some of them, in my world on YouTube, they will hit you with a kind of hand grenade, and actually what they're trying to say is, "I want to be your friend." But they can't find another way of doing it. So they sort of start with, "Well, you're obviously a complete idiot," is their kind of opening line. And you have to see through that and go, "Yes, I clearly am, and please tell me why I'm an idiot." And then they become friendly, which is strange.
Bizarre.
Well, there we are.
But as long as I feel like if you're going to write anything on social media, as long as you can go up to that person and say it to their face as well, then write it.
That's
but
the
if
rule.
if you wouldn't go up to that person and you wouldn't say that to them, then why would you say it? It's I just don't understand.
Yes, it's the shouting from the rooftops thing, isn't it? Okay, so you've got the school underway. Did it require, we're seeing the video in the background, did it require a great deal of kit? And did you have to you didn't have to build anything, do you, like lodges or anything like that?
No, so the Swinton Hotel gave me an outer building which they refurbished. It's quite small. It's got some merchandise in there, very simple setups, flies, anything you need basically if you've forgotten anything for your day's fishing, trout or salmon. And then we've got a lake which we do a casting tuition, and it was all really set up already, waiting for someone to come. But they've never done anything with their fishing, so it was right place, right time for me. But it was funny because I had my first meeting with them in March, and I sort of said, not knowing that they have space for that kind of thing, and I mentioned that I was looking to start up a school, and do they have any lakes by any chance? And they were like, "Oh yeah, we could do that. We've got a few lakes for you to look at." So it just went from there.
Do you set up a fishing school by basically looking at Google Maps for bits of blue?
Yeah, that's what I did. I visited loads of lakes, and I just turned up, and I met a couple of people, but they didn't get back to me. And then I was on my last legs. I was sort of at Swinton saying, "You don't happen to have a lake?" And then it just went from there.
It's funny you chose Swinton because I think it's a very good fit. They are a byword for conservation practice, bringing people in, getting people involved, community. They had the horror of Packham naming them over something to do with hen harriers the other day. But you almost know that if he names you, it's not your fault.
They did have a lot of stick on social media. Actually, I don't know whether you saw it. But they posted about the hen harrier that was shot and found on their land.
So, I think it was found near their land, but its transmitter went off on their land. So the implication was it was shot on their land, then kept in a freezer for 6 months. No, you can go on the sofa. That's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
You can. It's fine. Yeah, that's better. That's a microphone, not a bone. Yeah, good.
Want to say anything about the school?
Sniff. So in the end, the hen harrier. The idea was that whoever shot the hen harrier from the Swinton estate, says the aunties, kept it for several months and then drove it several miles and then dumped it where its transmitter mysteriously started working again. frankly, that story has so many holes in it. I don't know how it got out there, but that's their contention. But Swinton had to cope with that, didn't they? Were you part of that?
No, not really. The social media side of things, they were told not to.
They did keep out of it, I know.
Yeah, they kept out of it. There were about 400 comments overnight, and their star rating went from 5, the highest you can get, to then 3 point something overnight. So
it's monstrous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing is just going to happen. But no, big thumbs up for Swinton if anybody's thinking of going to Yorkshire. What else does it have apart from your school?
It has a clay ground. So Churchill's are going in, taking over in October.
Are they?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good brand.
Yes, and they've got yoga. So basically, before I even started the school, I really wanted to do fishing courses, but with another activity. So it wasn't, because I think a lot of people don't really try fishing because firstly, it is quite hard in the beginning to get your casting, good and up to scratch. And then it's also, a lot of people think it's like hardcore. You have to be outside for 8 hours and, no rest. You have to catch the fly in the water. But actually, I think for a lot of people, they just want to be outside and, experience lots of different things. So the tailored courses of fishing plus another activity on Swinton Estate. So fishing and yoga, fishing and golf. They've got a 9-hole golf course. Okay,
so you're doubling up with that.
Yeah.
Just explain the yoga side, okay? Treat me like a completely moronic, reconstructed male who doesn't understand. Because there is something zen about fishing. Does that kind of feed into the yoga at all?
Yeah, I think well-being and being healthy and getting outside and doing exercise, I think is all.
Is yoga about? I thought it was just like sitting cross-legged and.
Well, it's like meditation, isn't it? Isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what yoga is exactly. I'm so.
Yeah.
Okay, but it sort of sounds like the same area.
But some courses are aimed more for guys and the others are girls. You might get
guys wouldn't do yoga then.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Guys, would you do yoga?
No,
exactly.
not much. No.
But you would do clays. Yeah.
Clays, yeah.
So, you might get a whole group of guys wanting to do fishing, clays and golf, whereas the women might want to do, and I'm not generalising here, but fishing,
you are.
yoga, and I'm not going to say the third one, but we do have a cookery school, so...
Ladies, if you're thinking of clay shooting, don't.
But more and more ladies are getting into shooting and fishing, so,
so that works.
Expect.
All right. I mean, one thing the shooting schools have to do is kind of tailor their activities for the time of year. So midsummer is very kind of corporate. Later on, people start panicking about their first grouse day. Can you remind me how to shoot grouse? Then we've got the pheasant season. Then we've got the kind of, how did I shoot so badly? I need a follow-up lesson. Then they get to go on holiday in February. Is that kind of how it's going to be with you as well? You're going to be teaching spey casting and... Yeah,
I mean, my main season is from April to October, and when we get the lake stocked, then it will be sort of all year round. So I'm very busy from May till sort of September, October time, depending.
And that is, I mean, associated with what's going on at the time. So May, you're teaching cute little light fly rods. Towards the end, you're doing big spey casting days.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that also gives you half the year off as well, because you are a famous traveller. I think we've got some video of you. Is it the video of you in Sweden? Is that right? Yes. Look, we've got Aaron, the tech guy, is looking at me. You've got a lot of travelling to do, haven't you, around the world? Does that give you that time?
Yeah, I'm trying as much as possible to try and get my trips in on the off season, especially from now on because of the school. But yeah, travelling, for me, it's quite important to sort of see what's going on in other countries and how they fish and to get the experience. And I think people are interested in that as well. I think when I've done a trip, the people back in the UK want to know more, and maybe they'll go on that trip. And it's just part of the job, really.
It is. And how are you doing these trips? I mean, I think, are you an Orvis ambassador? Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
So you're basically getting out there with Orvis kit and showing it off around the world.
Yeah. And sometimes I do trips. Most of all my trips are not actually Orvis trips as such, but maybe I work with agencies or do hosted trips, so take a group of people out.
You came here a couple of years ago with Wayne from Alaska, didn't you?
Yes.
Remember that? Yes. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of trip just seems to me completely magical. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, it was stunning. It was beautiful. And, anyone, you go there and you think, how is this even here? How is this so pure? There's no one here. You get, little planes. See, the planes get smaller and smaller. And then you land in the middle of nowhere.
Isn't that wonderful?
And it's there's so much wildlife, and the bears and the salmon and
You just turn around, you can see that you're saying this film we're running.
These are my Swedish friends,
They're
Matilda
Swedish.
and Louise. Yeah.
And what were you fishing for there?
We were fishing for pike, but we didn't do very well. And it also took me over 24 hours to get there because from door to door.
Yeah.
And it was a complete nightmare. I went
Yorkshire's
to the wrong...
practically in Sweden.
Yeah, exactly. I could have just,
just hopped over.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Okay, so I mean, what strikes me about that film is it's the adventure, really, isn't it? That's the best
and
bit.
meeting, I'd never met these girls before, and it was all through social media. And they said, "Oh, we should," actually, I think I reached out to them because the World Fishing Day.
Yes.
Was last year, yeah, for the first time.
What time
and they
of the
were on
year?
it, and they looked so fun. It was in summer, but they didn't do it this year, which was a shame because I thought it had very good scope. But I saw them on the World Fishing Day, fishing in Sweden, and I thought I really want to go and fish with those girls. So I just messaged them, and then I went in October, and they were great. I loved them.
It is great fun. Well, you weren't fly fishing for pike, were you?
Yes, yeah, I was, yeah,
Ooh,
and they
gosh.
were spinning. So we did really, really badly. We caught one each.
That's good.
So over 24 hours, and then
I know you're a volume person, but I would call that an enormous success. Just
yeah,
one fish.
Yeah. And new friends.
At the school, I mean, can you cope with kind of rather esoteric questions like, I want to fly fish for pike in, the Thames. Please, can you give me some lessons on specifically that? I mean, are you able to sort of tailor it that far?
I think with casting I can, but I wouldn't. I know that you're not being specific about pike, but I don't really guide pike. I just find them a bit too finicky. They're just so annoying. I've got a vendetta about them at the moment because I just can't seem to catch. I lost a big one the other day, and I just can't seem to. And I've just got slightly. I've blanked so much, and when I'm so busy, I go out for a day, and if I blank, I really think that's quite a waste if I'm away from the office. So if I catch something, I'm like, that was amazing. I don't regret going, but now pike are really underneath my nails.
And we do sort of mythologize fish, don't we? But pike particularly seem to be something that kind of they're there when you're not expecting them, when you don't want them to be there, when you want them to be there.
They're amazing as well. Who pike fishes here? Anyone pike fish?
Got any pike fishers? Got a couple, 3.
Nice.
Aaron does as well. Good.
Yeah, they're amazing. I'm obsessed with them, but I hate them at the same time because they're so on and off. And I went fishing with a really well-known predator fly fisher called Jason Stokes, and he took me to a lake, and I never met him before. It was all, again, through social media. And we were filming about a Orvis combo rod that you can switch to fly and spinning by putting the 3 sections on the rod butts. Different rod butts, and he said it was going to be a really hot day, so I didn't bring him, and I said to him, are you sure we should go? We were actually after perch and pike, and so he said, yeah, we're pretty much guaranteed on this reservoir. And we went there, and we blanked. He caught one, and I blanked, and I was like, and he said that we were going to catch loads, and I was like, what? And it's just how fishing is, but I swear to God that they hate me. Those predators hate me.
This is it.
Just can't seem to catch them.
If I had a penny for everybody who said you should have been here last week, actually, when we've been making films for Fieldsports Channel, the place is like pike soup, and then you turn up and for some reason they've all gone. And it's not just pike. I mean, it could be anything from wild boar to wildebeest. We never seem to hit it right.
Yeah, I also think pike is really susceptible. There's a lot of canals where pike are just dying because people don't know how to handle them. So they catch these incredible specimens and they just completely ruin them by not holding them properly, dropping them, and then they just die. You just see them sort of on the edges,
floating upside down. Yeah, it's
so
shocking.
if you do go after pike, you have to be really careful to look after them, and
Fly fishers are generally pretty bad at handling fish, aren't they? Especially compared to, the carp fishers come with their kind of carry bags and handles, and they release very slowly back into the water. As we go more and more into the world of catch and release, are we going to have to catch up, learn?
Yeah, I'm trying really hard to adopt the steelhead approach. So in America, you have to, in certain places, I actually can't remember where, but in certain places you have to have the part of the steelhead's body touching the water. So this is what I'm trying to do with any fish that I catch, and if I'm releasing it, I will. And even if like it's a rainbow trout or a stocked fish, if I have a photo of it, I will always have at least one.
That's a very good rule. Is that because if it goes to, it just basically keeps it in touch with the water, and it doesn't allow you to kind of
you can't drop it. You're not going to pull it up on the bank. And it's just if it does slip out of your hands, then it's just going to go back. And I have noticed a significant difference with fish that I've done this with, and I've kept it touching the water. And as soon as I put it down, it swims off straight away. And I've never had a fish so far when I've done that take loads of time, because
that thing where they turn like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then you see people going back and forth like this, and if you don't. Because apparently if you rock it forwards and back, the water goes in the wrong way, and it actually drowns them. So they might go back okay, but then eventually they might turn over and die. So it's just so important. I've just written a blog about catch and release and catch and kill.
Have you? Yeah.
Which I'll be releasing soon. It's just sitting on my desktop. But I think that one thing, if someone is handling a fish wrong on social media, they shouldn't be pinpointed and trolled on social media.
Sorry,
maybe just send them a DM.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
Right.
They shouldn't because this just causes such a horrible atmosphere for the fishing community, and we need to be kind to each other. But maybe send them a DM and just say, slightly concerned, just talk to them about it and educate them instead of trawling them and making them feel crap. And maybe they'll, maybe they won't fish again, or maybe they'll just, give up. But I think that, by educating people and doing, the most humane thing for the fish is really important, because we need to look after them.
We do, but would you still, if you wanted to eat the fish, would you still knock it on the head, local rules permitting? You're not completely dyed-in-the-wool catch and release?
No, I'm sort of, I only kill stocked fish now, just because I would rather.
Right, you're allowed to make these management decisions still. You're not being ordered by anybody.
And I have nothing against people. If people want to take salmon, if people want to take brownies, that's absolutely fine. I have nothing against it, but I just can't, when I'm holding a wild brownie, a really nice wild brownie, and someone would look at that brownie and it's 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds, and they'd be like, wow, that's going to be delicious, and knock it on the head. But I just could not kill it.
That's it.
Because they're so pretty, and they've taken so long to fight to grow that big, and I just can't bring myself. But stockies, I'd kill any day, I'm going to get a smoker. I've just seen really cool smoker. I'm going to get one and start doing lots of smoking. And
I think one of the clever things, one of the kind of the admirable things about it sounds like a sort of complete Marina love fest, but you have managed to sort of make the jump from fishing into lifestyle. You have managed to show people that fishing is part of a general lifestyle activity. Was that something you did consciously, or are you still consider yourself to be an angler first and foremost, who just happens to have a kind of reach further into other people's lives?
Yeah, and to be honest, when you just said that to me, I that was something that you've said to me. You're the first person who actually said this to me. So it's just me, and it's just, but on social media, you only see the good bits. So my life is, I get someone saying, "Oh, but you look so happy all the time," and I'm like, "But I have really bad. I have bad stages." Yeah. Well, but it's not always. And maybe I should sort of open up a bit more about other things.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep it. But I think what my thing about 5 years ago, when I started posting on social media about fishing and what I loved so much, I didn't realize that today I would be doing it as a career. And I was just I always used to get comments saying, you know, I always used to hear people bitching about me sort of wearing, you know, girly clothes and so I thought, like, but if you want to fish, like, whoever you are, you can be yourself when you go fishing. You don't have to change to go fishing, surely. I mean, that just does. And so I've just done, you know, I've just been myself and displayed what I love.
And it's worked. People pick it up, people follow you, and now they'll come to your fishing school.
Yeah.
So if you've got a stand here.
No, not this year. Maybe next year.
Right. So how do people get in touch with you? Where is Northern Fishing School?
So you can visit www.northernfishingschool.com online, or email northernfishingschool@gmail.com, and follow us on social media. I'm under Marina Gibson Fishing, and then obviously Northern Fishing School taglines. So a
bit more plugging. So and you'll take groups or you'll take individuals?
Yeah, individuals, groups. We're trying to get into schools as well, and partnering up with the Angling Trust to do charity days. So the lake that we're dredging to try and get trout, I want to do lots of management, so build wheelchair access platforms, because it's right next to the hotel with good facilities. And then I was talking to a guy from Angling Trust as well, and apparently fishing is now, the doctors are prescribing fishing, which is amazing. And also
doctors are prescribing fishing for what, the common cold?
Mental.
What
I don't know. Apparently, for people who have low self-esteem, depression,
that's me.
Asthma.
Yes, I'm going to the NHS for that for sure.
It's amazing. And then there's charities. For example, if you're terminally ill, you're supported by these charities, and they hook you up with activities. And apparently, no pun intended. The fishing is one of the activities, so I really want to get into all these things as well.
And we know the Countryside Alliance runs a casting for recovery for people who are recovering from breast cancer.
Yeah, and I've offered them the venue to use. Okay. So now, hopefully trout dredging, but I don't know whether anyone knows anything about dredging, but it is extremely expensive, and this lake is sort of 280 meters long by 20 meters wide, and the dredging, we've got quotes. My first quote was 100 grand.
Are you appealing to the audience whether they could do some dredging work for you?
Yeah, anyone out there?
Any dredgers
a lot of
here?
tractors at the game fair.
No, bad luck.
And then my second quote was 50 grand. And then the third quote, I'm just waiting. I mean, it's so expensive.
All right, okay. If any of you know any dredgers, could you help out Marina, please?